بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين ثم الصلاة والسلام على سيدنا ونبينا محمد وعلى آله الطاهرين وصحبه المنتجبين اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. Praise be to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the Lord of here and the hereafter. We greet and salute our Prophet, the most noble of all prophets and his pure progenies. Sisters and brothers, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Today we are going to record the program, at least the first part, the tafsir of the chapter that we are dealing with. And then after the chapter, we will have question and answer session that deals with the question that Haji Janet posed last time. The verse that we are going to deal with the tafsir is a short verse, Surah Al-Tawheed, chapter 112. Can you turn off your audio, please? Yeah, turn off your audio. Sister Zahia, can you control the audio system? The microphone. Chapter 112, at the end of the Holy Quran, Surah Al-Ikhlas or Surah Al-Tawheed, both of them are given the title. This surah is a Makki surah. It's quite clear from the theme that is presenting, which is primarily the fundamental belief for Islam, which is Tawheed. In this surah, the basic Islamic Tawheed is asserted, but in a way that God's being and his attributes are expressed in a way that eliminates any association, any trace of association with others or others with him. The chapter, some scholars have indicated that if you look at the Holy Quran, the beginning of it's Surah Al-Hamd that talks about Tawheed again. And we approach the end of the Holy Quran and it talks about Tawheed. So literally what it says, it indicates that the concept of Tawheed encompasses all the belief, and at the same time, the central theme that runs through the Holy Quran is the concept of Tawheed. There are a number of ahadith that state if we truly understand Surah Al-Tawheed or Surah Al-Ikhlas, it's like as if we have understood 1/3 of the Holy Quran. Because if you remember a few weeks ago, or nearly a month ago, we were talking about the three fundamental principles at the time when the proclamation of the Holy Prophet took place. Tawheed, the challenge to the polytheist, the mushrikeen of Mecca, was regarding Tawheed, Nubuwwat, and Ma'ad. These are the three fundamental principles. And these are the ones, each one constitutes 1/3 of the belief. Let us start with what we can do about or explain or tafsir commentary on the Surah Al-Tawheed or Surah Al-Ikhlas. It starts like every other surah with Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, and there is a debate. We will discuss this later as we go on, whether Bismillah is part of the surah or outside the surah. The Shias consider Bismillah to be part of the surah. Some Sunnis say no, This is why in their prayers, when they start, they don't recite Bismillah, Allahu Akbar, Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen in the Surah Al-Fatiha. قل هو الله أحد. If we were to literally deconstruct this particular verse, there are only 4 verses within this chapter. قل هو الله أحد. The word قل is a command that means to openly announce something that everyone, so that everyone becomes fully aware of. And normally the word qul is being used in at least the way Quran uses it. When Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants to affirm the position of Islam by default, the Holy Prophet, and that we have discussed, we have debated the issue long enough. From now onwards, this is our position. This is why qul is being used. If you pay attention to the surah, few surahs before Surah Qul Huwa Allahu Ahad, Qul Ya Ayyuhal Kafirun, Lakum Dinukum Waliya Din. We have discussed this issue repeatedly. The debate is over. This is our position, and from now onwards, you take it or you leave it, in that kind of style. So commands the Holy Prophet to clearly state his position, because discussion about the issue of polytheism versus monotheism and where Quran and Islam stands have been discussed repeatedly, and it's something that Quran doesn't want to explain or to continue the conversation about the issue. Then huwa. Huwa is a pronoun that is used in the verse when there is a clear, this is where linguistic comes in, when there is a clear understanding between the speaker and the listener, where this pronoun refers to, in this case, God or Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Pronoun is used when the speaker and the listener understand. The word Allah, قُلْ هُوَ اللَّهُ, Allah here, a noun used for personal name of God. Repeatedly, whenever Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants to associate characters or attributes to himself, the word or noun Allah is being used. Quran describes all virtuous and gracious attributes to God to this name itself. If you go and read Surah Al-Hashr, the verse 22 to 24 starts in this: Huwa Allahu alladhi la ilaha illa huwa al-Malik al-Quddus السلام المؤمن المهيمن العزيز الجبار المتكبر. So all of these attributes are associated to Allah. In this context, Allah is being used as a noun where all the context, whatever in this chapter or in verse, we are dealing as far as gracious and virtuous attributes to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is referring to this name. قُلْ هُوَ اللَّهُ أَحَدٌ. A delicate point here that we really need to understand, and the linguist, Arabic linguist, make a distinction between ahad and wahid. They say that ahad means someone in whose being and essence none can be associated. So when you want to say the essence is unique and there is no sharaka or association in the essence, ahad is being used. When you want to refer and state that attributes, in his attributes none can be associated, wahid is being used in the Holy Quran. So here the word ahad is being used, which is trying to indicate that the essence of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, nothing comes close to it. And sometimes Ahad is translated in a number of translation as eternal, absolute, unique, and peerless. These are various translations given in every sense. God is Ahad from the, if you think about it and reflect, means that He's always existed. And He is the creator of everything else. His essence is unique, and also nothing comes close to it. Then goes to the second verse, Allahu Samad. Again, we see Allah is being used. Samad as a character, as an attribute that we are related to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The noun is used here. Samad in Arabic language means a huge rock. If you look at the etymology, a huge rock that you normally hide behind it from, say, enemy attack, and you take refuge behind it to protect yourself. Here, the verse clearly indicates that Allah, not only unique in its essence, at the same time is so close that you have no other source of comfort and refuge but Him, but Allah. And this kind of language is being used in other books of Revelation, such as Psalms, Zabur for Dawood or David, in which chapter 18, verse 12, I believe it says, "The Lord is my rock," which is the same as Samad, "and my fortress and my deliverer." So rock as a place in which we take refuge during the time of calamity, and for support and protection, Allah is the one that clearly stated here. Samad comes after Ahad here to remind us that although His nature, this is one of the reference to a unique relationship between Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and human being. Ahad by itself, if we were to look at it as a pronoun, as a verb, as a word, clearly indicated that there is nothing that comes close to Him. When we reflect upon Ahad, it gives or creates a degree of distance from humanity. By stating Samad in here, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, yes, the essence of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala nobody can comprehend, and yet He is not an abstract reality aloof or floating somewhere, but He is so near that like a rock that we rely on to protect ourselves. And this relationship between the closeness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to human being, and at the same time being far away from it, is what Amir al-Mu'mineen salawatullah salamu alayhi refers to in the first sermon, in which he says, مَعَ كُلِّ شَيْءٍ لَا بِمُقَارَنَةٍ وَغَيْرُ كُلِّ شَيْءٍ لَا بِمُزَايَلَةٍ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is with everything, but not in a sense with the physical nearness, and different from everything, not in the physical separation. Understanding this unique relationship and the mystery of the relationship between Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and human being is clearly critical. وَإِذَا سَأَلَكَ عِبَادِي عَنِّي فَإِنِّي قَرِيبٌ. Yes, if they ask who I am, the essence and the nature cannot be comprehended, but I'm so close to you. And in another verse, it says, I'm even closer than your jugular veins. Then moves into a couple of the last two ayahs. The first two ayahs clearly indicates of unpacking the way we have to understand this unique concept of Tawheed in Islam. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is, as again Quran says, لَيْسَ كَمِثْلِهِ شَيْءٍ. It's a unique reality. You cannot comprehend. yet he is, or for the use of a better word, he is as close to you as one could imagine. Then moves into two other verses that negates what the Christians, as well as even the polytheists, mushrikeen of Medina, associated with Allah. Number one, that they claimed that the angels are daughters, somehow Allah's daughters. And the Christian claimed the sonhood for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The angels are the daughters, and either false idea of sonhood that existed both in Christianity and in Judaism. So this verse clearly rejects. He is neither anyone's father nor anyone's son. Completely reject the concept of Trinity or any other concept that came after. وَلَمْ يَكُنْ لَهُ كُفُوًا أَحَدٌ. There is none like him. He has no equal, no like, no peer, no match or similar. He is the only eternal and immortal. So to sum up this verse, although it's very small, short surah, only 4 ayahs, but yet Mufassirin have spent huge amount of time dealing with each one of these verses separately, trying to explain the concept of Tawheed through these verses. Allah is the unique, summing up the verse, the surah, unique, eternal, complete, and above everyone else, above all needs. He brings everything into existence, and He is the refuge for them. He is father to no one, nor has he a father, and He has no equal, no peer, or like, or anything else. This is what the surah talks about. And as I said earlier, the fact that Quran wraps up the revelation of the Quran by restating and reaffirming these 3 surahs next to each other. قُلْ هُوَ اللَّهُ أَحَدٌ قُلْ أَعُوذُ بِرَبِّ الْفَلَقِ قُلْ أَعُوذُ بِرَبِّ النَّاسِ, to remind the society at the time, the Jahiliyyah society, that with this revelation, Islam is complete, and Islam has no time to indulge in debate and discussion that the nearly 23 years has been spent on unpacking it. This is Islam's position, and we move forward with that. I am going to quickly turn the camera and everything else off, and then I come back. Please, everyone, stay within the Blue Jean page until I come back. A few minutes. Thank you.